video is going to be about solving proportions. A proportion is just an equation with two ratios. You've probably heard the saying, the product of the extremes equals the product of the means. This is what allows us to cross-multiply to solve these problems. The extremes are on the outside, the means are in the middle. So how I'm going to use this? I'm going to multiply 3 times the quantity x plus 5 and 6 times 4. Do not forget to distribute. So I have 3x plus 15 equals 24. I subtract the 15 and x equals 3. This second one is a little bit harder, but the process is always the same. If we have that idea, the product of the extremes, product means multiply, equals the product of the means, we are going to multiply the extremes and the means. Your equal sign does not go away, it stays right there. And do not forget again to distribute. So when I do this, I get 6x plus 9 equals 5x minus 5. I'm going to subtract my 5x. There's still a negative here left with that 5. So I have x plus 9 equals negative 5. And then I subtract 9. And my answer, x is negative 14. The process is going to be the same every time. These next examples are going to be using a quadratic. So remember, a quadratic just means we have an x squared, which means we have the possibility of two different answers. So if I look at this problem, x times x is x squared equals 3 times 27 is 81. When I see an x squared, I keep in mind that I possibly have two answers. Not all the time, but I'm going to be looking for two different answers. There's two different ways I could do this. One way is I could bring the 81 over and get x squared minus 81 equals 0, and then factor. And once I set each factor equal to 0, I get x equals 9 and negative 9. I like this way because then I don't forget my second answer. The other way we can do this, because I have an x squared by itself, I can take the square root of each side. The only thing I would caution you about is not to forget about the positive and negative. So I get x equals positive and negative 9. The same answers I got up here, just in a different method. The last problem, when I cross multiply, I'm not going to have this square rooting each side as a method. I'm going to have to factor. So if I cross multiply here, I have x squared equals 2 times the quantity x plus 12, which is 2x plus 24. As soon as I have three terms, I know that I have to set my quadratic equal to 0, and then from there my two options are to factor or use the quadratic formula. These are all going to work out pretty nicely and they're going to be able to factor. The quadratic formula is always an option though. So I'm going to bring over the 2x and the 24. I have x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. I can factor this into x minus 6 and x plus 4 equal to 0. If I set each factor equal to 0, get my two answers of positive 6 and negative 4. That's going to be how all of the problems are done. You just need to go back and remember your algebra and remember how to factor, how to combine like terms, and all of those things.